Hello, my name is Gus, but you can call me BATGUS, and we are back with our Batman the Animated Series episodes commentary. And today's episode is a bombshell, one of my favorites in this show. In fact, it might be my favorite episode in the whole series. Appointment on the Crime Alley. And I will explain why this is, but first, let's do our countdown so you can watch the episode together with me. If you have your Blu-ray or DVD box set of Batman the Animated Series or the streaming service with the show, all right? So let's go in 3, 2, 1, play. So the Warner Bros. Logo is on the screen. And like I said, this episode might be, and I say might be because it's impossible to choose a favorite episode in the show, in my opinion. That's why I created this channel, this playlist, should I say, with Batman the Animated Series episodes because I wanted so much to talk about all of them. Because I love basically the whole series, and each episode has a special or specific thing that I love. But I think if I had to choose my favorite episodes in this whole series, Appointment on the Crime Alley was probably going to be on the top tier. And of course, this is not one of the episodes that I was a huge fan as a kid, because it's not a kid's episode. It's a very adult, with very adult issues plot. But watching today as an adult and analyzing all the episodes, all the stories, the plots, it was that it really touches the viewer in terms of the emotional idea of what Batman or a character like Batman impacts in a society. So it's a very society, should I say, a social issues episode driven, because it talks about the whole idea of the poor people in Gotham and how the big shots, the rich people, can take advantage on their existence like if they were nothing, and how Batman can impact and help this situation. So the whole episode starts with our worst and favorite villain industrialist of the show, Roland Daggett, talking about a plan to explode one poor area of Gotham City and some very old buildings in order to build new buildings and new institutions for his own profits, for his own industries. And the place is called Park Row. So it's a whole neighborhood, a whole block of buildings that he wants to demolish to build his own complex of industries. And we see that the people of Park Row, the poor people, the people who basically live in very poor conditions or doesn't have a place to live, are protesting against Daggett, but there's not much they can do. So Batman, we see Bruce Wayne watching the news and watch this whole. It's a very good start for the episode, because there is this great explanation of the whole context of the plot in this news report. And Batman, the episode, it's called appointment in the crime alley because Batman always has this appointment since he was a child in the alley that his parents were murdered, right? In the exact time they were murdered. So he always commits to this tradition every year in the birthday of his parents' murder to go to crime alley and basically pay his homage to them. So the episode starts like this. We see Batman driving to the place, but then he gets surprised by a little girl going out of her house, and he's actually passing by one of the poor areas of Gotham. So this girl is crying, and Batman stops the Batmobile, and she says that her mother is being attacked. Actually, her house is being attacked by some goons that are trying to push her away from the house because she didn't pay the bills. And the woman is crying inside the house. So Batman, he enters the place and fights these goons. It's a great scene and very realistic fight scene, right? So he helps the woman and her daughter against these criminals that are trying to push her away from the house. And it's a very emotional scene, very beautiful scene. And again, talks about the idea of how Batman can actually help the society, especially the poor society of Gotham. What is the meaning of a character like him in this city, except for fighting supervillains and things like that? And that's why Batman is one of my favorite. Batman is my favorite character of all time. Not only as a superhero but as a character himself, because he is the only one who can deal with these issues, and it doesn't feel odd, or it doesn't feel out of his realm or out of the realm of his stories to deal with social issues like this. At the same time that you can have stories of, Batman fighting monsters or aliens or things like that. And this is a great example of an episode that really portrays how versatile this whole show is, because we have this very adult driven episode here, very grounded and extremely realistic, and a superhero basically dealing with real world issues. And at the same time, we have many other episodes that have different genres of stories, like I said, science fiction or action, spy thriller. This is why I love so much this show, because it can go back and forth in this whole versatility of genres, and I love it for that. We also have a very important character in this episode, that is the Dr. Leslie Tomkins, who is the woman who helped Bruce after his parents were murdered as a child. She was the one that, took care of him, took care of his, his well-being, right? After that terrible night. So Batman is looking for her in the poor neighborhoods of Gotham, but she actually saw something she couldn't see, that were the goons of Daggett planting the bombs in a building, in one of the poor buildings of the neighborhood. So she gets kidnapped by them and trapped in a basement of the building with the bombs, because she can't be a witness. She can't be a witness to their crime, right? So it's a very strong and grounded plot point as well. So anyway, this is why, as today, as an adult, this is one of my favorite episodes because the story here is so rich and so powerful. Uh, to see Batman actually uh, being a force for good in this aspect of his city is very refreshing, because so far we have just seen Batman fighting criminals and supervillains, and we love this stuff, but at the same time it can be a little numbing with time. Just see stories of Batman fighting his supervillains, and I think this is like I said, a very refreshing episode. At the same time, is a important point for the show, that it becomes more mature, uh, quite more mature than before, and I love it for that. Now we have a scene that is also very, very interesting. That we have this guy uh, that has a hostage on the top of a building, and all the cops, including Commissioner Gordon, are uh, talking with the guy because he wants to kill his hostage, uh, because he was a man that was an employee for Daggett Industries, and he lost his job. So he's not a villain, he's not a criminal, he's a man who is desperate for justice, a man who is desperate uh, for surviving, right? And Batman has to deal with the situation, and we have a very interesting part where the guy, once Batman arrives to try to tackle this man, the man accuses Batman of working with Daggett, because this is it, right? He's so low in life, and he's so beaten by life that everything seems to be against him. But Batman is able to diffuse the situation and take the man and save the hostage, and bring him to the cops. So it is again, it's not an action scene. It's not an adventure episode. It's a very serious and drama-oriented episode. And this part in specific is quite sad, actually, because the man, it isn't his fault that he is in this situation. And you can understand his desperation, but at the same time, he's a criminal, right? So Batman goes to Leslie Tompkins' house, and she's not there, obviously, because she was kidnapped by Daggett's goons. And he sees the album of pictures of her in a table, and he sees some photos inside, including a piece of newspaper from the day of, should I say, the night of the Wayne murders. And we see a picture of him, Bruce Wayne, as a little boy hugging Leslie Tompkins, and he's crying in her arms. And this is where he hears a man who saw Leslie Tompkins being kidnapped, a homeless guy on the window, and he's talking about poor Leslie Tompkins, and Batman goes after the guy and tries to get some answers from him. But again, he's not a criminal, so Batman cannot fight the guy, cannot punch him. But he's very rough with the homeless guy, just to know what he saw and where Dr. Tomkins is. So so he gets the information that he needs, but he has to hurry, because the bombs that will explode the building that she's in, or the block of the Park Row, they have a timer, and the time is running, right? And Roland Daggett is giving this speech in Gotham Business Council dinner, and he's talking about the whole project that his industries will implement. And meanwhile, while he's being presented, he's looking in his watch to see the time, because he knows that the whole thing is going to blow up. And then we have this very, I think is a very fun scene, probably the only action scene in the episode, but still very grounded, that we see this, how do you say, electric bus. I'm not sure if that's the name, but it loses control in the middle of Gotham. And while Batman is, running to get to Leslie Tompkins, he has to stop everything and deal with this electric bus going down the avenue of one neighborhood. Oh, sorry, he didn't lose control. The driver of the bus, he fainted, right? He passed out, so he lost control of the bus, and the whole thing is going down the street in high speed without control. So Batman has to use his skills to stop the bus, and it's a great scene because it's very action driven. Maybe the only real action scene of the whole episode, that he puts the Batmobile right next to the bus and jumps from the car to the bus. Then he will end up using the Batmobile to stop the car, right, blocking the way. And it's a great scene, almost like the Spider-Man 2 scene where Spider-Man stops the train on the tracks, right? He has to stop the train, or should I say the bus here, on the tracks with the Batmobile, and he uses the turbine of the car as a reverse thrust, which is something we didn't see before, right? He puts the turbine firing in the opposite direction to be able to create this strength to stop the bus, the heavy bus. And he is successful, but the tires of the Batmobile end up being destroyed, and for a very close margin, he is able to stop the bus and save the passengers before it hits other cars on the avenue. Great scene, by the way. Great scene. I love this scene. And then Batman leaves the Batmobile, and he uses something that we saw in the Tim Burton movies. That is, when he has to leave the car in the middle of the street, he uses this device that covers the car with some, how do you say, some a shield, right? A shield that will prevent anyone to try to mess with the car. And here is the same thing. He does a similar thing while leaving the Batmobile. So then he finds the goons that kidnapped Dr. Tomkins, and ironically enough, one of the goons that planted all the bombs, his name is Nitro. So, well, whatever. So he gets the goons. He's able to capture them and put them inside trapped inside the truck filled with bombs. And then again, Batman has to run because the timer is still, the clock is ticking. So by 9 p.m., the whole block of buildings will explode. So he has to hurry. So then we see Batman defusing one of the bombs. He finds Dr. Tompkins, but she says that there are still other bombs in other buildings, and these buildings have people in them, in the block. So Batman has to run to save these people now. And meanwhile, we cut back to the Gotham City Council, where Daggett is making his speech, talking about the progress of the future and how we must forget the past. It's talking about the whole poor areas of Gotham. he's a despicable villain. He's probably the most despicable villain of the whole show, in my opinion. Roland Daggett. It's not the Joker. He's not the Riddler or Two-Face or any other. That's the guy. That's the one head that is pure evil, and he is a kind of a regular villain. Sometimes he's a villain to Catwoman. He was also a villain to Clayface, right? If you remember the episodes, Feet of Clay, and he's just a despicable, disgusting man. But anyway, the 9 p.m. arrives and the whole block of buildings explodes. And for a moment, we think that Batman wasn't able to save the people. We see the fire department trying to put the fire out, and Roland Daggett arrives at the scene. The reporters ask him for a comment on this tragedy because they think the people died in the fire, in the explosions. But then we see Batman coming with a group of people, a group of residents that he just saved, and not only that, but Batman also tosses the Daggett goes in front of him, saying that he was just able to destroy some old buildings, and his own scheme didn't work. But he doesn't have evidences to arrest Daggett, so Daggett is able to go away. And we see Batman really furious, really wanting to do something, but he can't. And Dr. Tomkins tells him to let it go, unfortunately. But it's a sad ending, but at least he's a little happy because Batman was able to save the poor people. He was able to save the people who lived in that area. So again, it's a very heavy issue, but at least he was able to save those people. And then we have this amazing and beautiful ending where Batman goes to the crime alley with Dr. Tomkins, and he leaves some flowers in the spot they were killed. And we finish with this beautiful scene of Dr. Tomkins hugging Batman and cutting to the old picture of the little boy Bruce Wayne hugging her as a young woman as well. Beautiful, emotional. It really makes me very, moved. I actually want to cry every time I see this episode because it's really emotional. It's really deep, and it's one of those episodes that really show how beautiful and how great this series is. All right. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this commentary, and I hope you are liking this Batman the Animated Series episodes commentary content in the channel. If you are liking, please don't forget to subscribe here and leave your like so we can keep talking about Batman and DC Universe in this channel. All right? See you in the next Bat video, and bye-bye.